If you're thinking about starting an Amazon FBA business, you're probably wondering, is it dead? Is it too saturated? Does it actually work? Well, in today's video, I had an honor to interview some of my students who are crushing it when it comes to selling on Amazon. They launched their first product and they're selling $1,000 every single day with their first product. I hope you guys enjoy the interview. We'll see you there. Welcome to today's video. My name is Trevin Peterson and I have my two lovely students here, Ben and Laura. They come from all the way from Columbus, Ohio, and we're going to be unpacking their Amazon FBA journey. So I want to welcome you guys to the channel, and in the comments, show a lot of love. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you guys are parents, you guys got kids, and
Mhm.
life is busy. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to jump on this quick call.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be here.
So real quick, let's just talk a little bit about you guys. I mentioned that you guys are obviously a couple. You guys have got kids from Ohio. What else is cool, unique, fun, and different about you guys? What can you tell us?
We're in full-time ministry,
Yeah, so we're
so
yep. So we're in full-time ministry together. That was part of what started our desire to be able to kind of have a side hustle and something where that would support the family and allow Laura to be a stay-at-home mom. We moved. I'm from Columbus. She's from Maryland. We long distance dated for like a year, and then got married. And we've been married for 8 years. And yeah, moved from the Baltimore area back to Columbus. And so I'm a Buckeye fan. I went to Ohio State. And yeah, so we've kind of been on this Amazon journey, kind of as a means to like set up our family for the long haul and to find somewhat of a passive income, but passive's probably not the right word, but something that could help supplement our family and provide financial freedom, but also be able to serve people that are kind of in a similar interest group as us.
That's amazing. For me, that's what it's all about. Trying to give back, trying to help others, but at the same time, before you can help others, you got to be able to help yourself and be able to kind of get your situation kind of with that solid foundation. So I love that, and that's really fun to kind of hear your guys' story and background. And so you kind of touched on it. That was kind of your main driving factor of like, hey, we need to find a way to supplement our income, create additional stream. And
Mhm.
what piqued your interest about Amazon FBA specifically?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I did not want to leave my babies. So I like went hardcore researching Amazon FBA and learned a ton about it. Did so much product research, bought helium-10, all those things. But I knew like my gift set only went so far. Like I'm the big dreamer. I'm the creative. Like I want to design things and have big dreams, but then he's like the executor. Like I got it up until the product and I created the product and like perfected it to what I wanted. And then I was like, "Okay, now I need help." So, I knew that with he has a finance background and was a financial analyst, so he's, like, so good with Excel sheets and all these different things that I don't know how to do.
Well,
So
I'm probably more on your side because
okay.
I don't do the Excel sheets. I don't really do all that. People will ask me numbers. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't even know what's going on, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it happen the best that I can. So having a partner like that is definitely awesome. So how do you like it seems like it's a pretty easy balance because it's clear cut, hey, this is what I'm good at, this is what Ben's good at. Like, is there ever like, hey, this is not how we do it? And like is there any like bashing back and forth, or is it like pretty smooth sailing for the most part? Or how do you find that balance working with your spouse?
Yeah, great question. I think we do have we're polar opposites, so we know that our gift sets are entirely different. The only tension would be that he already has a full-time job, so anytime that I am needing help, like, now we're in the maintenance phase of our first product, and he's really been on top of all of that, so it's like he's doing his full-time job, and he's making sure we have enough inventory and making sure PCP is good, like, all these things, so PPC.
Yeah.
Sorry. See, that's not my face.
Yeah. So I think just kind of being in it, all in it together, but in different ways and at different times. So I think just learning how to feel like we are both collectively all in, even if it looks different in different stages. So there's gifts she has and things that she excels in that I really don't. And just being able to kind of celebrate our differences in what we bring to the business and being able to lean on one another. So like there's things she's able to do with Instagram and video ads and pictures that is not my specialty, and I know is so critical to be able to sell on Amazon, and just connections she's been able to build, and kind of an audience she's been able to build online. That is not my. I don't have time or desire to do that. So I feel like and a lot because it's been a journey, I feel like we've been figuring it out, Trevin. Like we haven't known. So it's kind of was like, oh, she was doing this and now it's like she needs help and now I'm trying to learn. So that's where it's been a process of discovering how in the world do we do this and just realizing we have significant blind spots. So being able to engage with your coaching process and learn has been really important. So I've just kind of seen this, especially we're about at the 18-month mark of our journey, trying to really be a sponge and just absorb as much information as we can, and then being able to help each other out along the way.
I love that. So 18 months that you guys have kinda initially started, when let's break down the timeline. So
Yeah.
18 months ago, Amazon FBA came about.
Yeah.
What was the next step? You said you just kinda dove in, you started learning, you started getting and doing product research. How long did
Mhm.
it take to maybe order your first product, or did you have samples, or did you have an idea and then you're like, "Oh, this idea is not good," and then you kinda went back and forth? Like, just walk me through the 18 months to where you're at.
Yeah. So it started last summer. That's when I started diving in because I knew we were moving to Columbus and we were getting a bigger house. So we need more income.
Yeah.
And so started researching helium-10 in the fall. First sample was probably by this time last year. Didn't love it, made some adjustments, got another sample a few months later, and then started, like, fine-tuning everything, and then we, like, checked all of the profitability stuff, like, making sure that this was gonna work, and then what we launched in Ju late June, early July was the first time that it went on Amazon, went
Yeah.
live.
Yeah, it was kind of like this slow process around the beginning of the year where and then we hit the Chinese New
The
Year.
Chinese New Year definitely will throw, what, 6 weeks, like, "Oh, what do I do?"
So we were really close to having like our like golden sample, like this is our done deal. And then we hit Chinese New Year. We're like, oh shoot, we need to make some edits, but we had to wait. It felt like a month or two. And then we got that. And so it was like beginning of April is when it felt like, okay, we have a product that we love. Now, how do we get this to Amazon, make the listing, get the inventory and all that in place? So our first bulk order was in the spring, and then we started taking sales middle of June, and then really kind of with PPC at the beginning of July is kinda ended up how it started. So,
Cool.
yeah.
And I'm curious, were your expectations met at launch? Did it exceed? Did it about go about how you planned, or were you like, "Okay, this is I'm throwing this on Amazon, like, this is not going to work," like, I don't know. Like, I know
Yeah.
my first launch, I'm like, "I don't get this," like, I'm sending a product to this warehouse I've never even been to, and then it's gonna be on this platform, and then I get a sell, and then I don't even know who's fulfilling it, but it's somehow getting to the customer, like, it, like, doesn't really feel real, but then it starts happening, and so I'm curious what your guys' experience was.
Right. So, yeah, it's funny. The way you said it was like, we just put her on Amazon, and I don't know. That felt like especially the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
And it's funny, Trevor, because now, like, we've sold, I mean, like thousands of units of it, which is awesome. But like at the beginning, it was like like no one knew of it. And it was like on the 18th page of Amazon, and like only our friends or people that bought it directly off social media would find it. So I remember like looking through all of our orders, and I could have told you everyone that had bought it. But, and then in July is when we started like actually running campaigns on PPC because we were thinking if we had some reviews and stuff that might help. So we were like, let's do the first 2 weeks of having like people we know buy it. And then we like had like a launch team of like 10 friends that would like publicize it on social media, but PPC was really the helpful driver. And then so it was the first month was like we were spending a lot on ads and like or probably under break even. So what felt like a milestone to me, I remember it was right around the time of our anniversary. It was July 30th. So we had been selling with PPC for about a month. And then it started to turn profitable where our ad spend came down enough. I was like, oh my gosh, we're selling enough units and we're actually turning a profit. So that was like after about a month and a half of selling on Amazon, but 1 month of selling with PPC and then it becoming a little bit more efficient.
That's amazing. I love that. And it's so fun to just go through the journey, and there are ups and downs, and there are times where you're like, "Oh, man, this is not as fun." And the suck is kind of part of it. It's just like it makes the good that much better. And so the fact that, I mean, now that you guys you're in the business, you're in the trenches, you kinda have a better understanding of actually what's going on. And the cool thing with where you guys are at currently, it's only gonna get easier in terms of, like, knowing what's to come next. Like, there's obviously always gonna be a roadblock, there's always gonna be something that comes up, but you guys now have the tools in your tool bucket to be able to go in and absolutely crush it. So, you mentioned that was kinda your biggest milestone. I wanna hear from Lara's, perspective, what was kind of, I guess, your biggest milestone thus far in your business?
Yeah, great question. Honestly, I was afraid that I was gonna sell, like, 3 units. And I was like, because and he knows I'm such a dreamer that I'll just do things and then lots of times it will flop. And so I'm like waiting for the flop. But the fact that, we're selling 25 plus a day is just like, wait, what? Like this is really working. This is happening. And trying to continue that. And then to think of like, all right, now what's next? What's the next product?
That
So I think
that's cool.
yeah, being at work has been really exciting and encouraging.
And if I can add to that, I
Yeah.
think seeing random people that we do not know leave really heartfelt, kind reviews of
Yes.
them using our product, and we're like, "Wait," and I'm like, "Wait, do you know this person? Do they follow you?" And it was just like, no, they should genuinely have been blessed by our product, and so that's, like, the coolest feeling in the world and makes me come back to, like, her creativity and tenacity to really make a product that would serve the customer and be a blessing to them, and so that's been really cool, and kudos to her for that.
Yeah, I honestly think that's an underrated aspect of the business. A lot of times, I mean, there's times where we may sell products that may not have like crazy impact, but at the same time, like every product that you sell, somebody wants that product and it can impact them in a number of different ways. And I was actually just talking to a neighbor who we're helping basically through the process, and their product is phenomenal as well. And they basically are just like, it is crazy to hear the testimonials and the reviews and just the feedback that our customers are leaving, and we're like, I don't even know what's going on, but, like, this is so awesome, and we're able to make an impact. And
Yeah.
so that's another thing that's kinda fun is, yes, we're obviously building this to set our family and our foundation and to help with our financial situations, but it also is benefiting the world. Like, we're also contributing and helping other people. And if it wasn't for small business owners like you guys and me and the millions of others, like, this world wouldn't operate. And so I really think that's kind of a cool point that not a lot of people talk about. So I appreciate you, you guys bringing that up, and really kind of fun to hear that. So Ben, on our live call, it was probably maybe 6 weeks, I can't remember, a couple weeks ago. You were in the phase of, like, "How much inventory should I order, and am I ordering enough?" And you were like, "We're about to sell out." How have projections gone? I mean, we're kind of coming into Q4. Are things selling better, about the same? Have you done your projections right? Was your math good enough? Let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, we stocked out twice over, like, the summer, and that's where I just appreciated your candor on some of those calls of like, yeah, this has been a hard thing to figure out, and it's hard to project. Well, we overestimated because 'cause we're like, we just wanna make sure we have enough stock on hand, but we're considering doing a large order now before Chinese New Year as well. Our sales have surged. We did do a pretty big Black Friday, discount, but we've probably nearly doubled in sales
Oh,
for
wow,
from
that's awesome.
strong amount. So our margins are less because we've offered such a steep discount, but the sales and our ranking on some of the keywords has been really neat to see. So yes, we have enough inventory, but I'm still just like waiting to see how long will this surge last. And it's been, especially being a numbers guy, I figured it'd be kind of easy to figure out the inventory, but kind of always has me guessing. And I just want to make sure that we have enough on hand because it does take a little bit of time. But yes, we have enough inventory. We haven't stocked out since for the past few months, and hoping to not stock out again, but trying to stay on it.
And for the audience that's watching, this is by far the most difficult part to the process, in my opinion, is trying to forecast and trying to order enough or not too much. Having enough or, like, too much is totally fine if the product is selling well, because it's like, "Hey, if you're out of stock, you're losing rank, you're losing sales every single day. Like it's just not it's not an ideal situation to be in, and I tell and to be honest, every single person that I've worked with, whether they're a student, whether they're just a friend, whether they've been in the business for 10 years, stockouts happen almost guaranteed. Like, it's just bound to happen, and just little by little, you slowly start to figure things out, and, by the time next year, you'll have more data to be able to be like, "Oh, okay, this is how much we sold. Now we can kinda project and forecast a little bit better." And then obviously with Chinese New Year, you kinda have to plan that out a little bit as well. And then there might be delays, and there's so many different things that you have to obviously consider, but, that's just kinda part of the process, which is fun. So with the surge in sales, I'm curious, like, if you're selling, you said, like, 25 to 50 units-ish a day? That's a lot of inventory pushing out. So,
Yeah.
like, what's an average day sales-wise? Is
Uh,
that $100? Is that $500?
I would say it's typically probably 500 of total sales, and
Yeah.
then but right now it's closer to 1,000 with,
Wow.
Black Friday
That
week.
that's incredible. With one product. That's crazy.
Yeah, one product.
That's so cool, and, well, Ben, it wasn't you, it was Laura. Let's give her the credit, right?
Right, the goodies, yeah.
That's so awesome. You guys, that honestly, I as we were talking before, this is one of my favorite things to do is just to talk with students and not be too serious, not just to have a good time and to hear obviously your guys' background and kind of where you guys are at. It's honestly so fun and rewarding for me, rewarding for you. It's just a really cool, fun, neat experience. So again, I appreciate you guys jumping on. Just a few quick more questions to kind of wrap things up. Um, if you guys could go back when you were just starting, what advice would you give to yourselves?
I think I thought that I could do this, like, only during nap times and after the kids go to bed, and it took way more than just nap times and bedtimes. So, I would have prepared myself for more hours in the week to put effort towards this.
I love that.
We're still with Ben helping and we're launched and everything, so it's a little bit easier than the beginning phase.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning, I mean, it's a grind. It takes effort, and there's so many people that do want this get rich quick scheme, and it's so funny. I feel like that get rich quick scheme has been said probably a bajillion times over the last 10, 20 years, and it just doesn't exist, yet people still think it does.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to me where it's like, hey, if you want something bad enough, or if you want something good, you're gonna have to put in the effort, and that's just the reality. So, yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that because I'm right there with you. I can't remember who said it, but when somebody says, "If you think it's gonna take an hour, it's gonna be 10 times that." And that's just kinda how it goes is, like, we have these expectations and then but in reality, it's a little bit longer than what it originally anticipated, which is totally fine. So Ben, what was there anything, that you would tell yourself as well?
Yeah, probably similarly. It's just there's an author I love named Dallas Willard, and he says to do the next right thing. And I feel like having patience and just doing the next right thing. Like if you would have told us that we'd be at this point back in the spring or the summer, we'd be like, no way. But it was just by doing the next right thing over and over and over again. So I think just carving out time in your week to consistently spend time on the business and I think just being a sponge and trying to see it more as a process. Like we are learning a process and we're becoming people that are able to do this cool thing of being a small business owner and selling on Amazon and learning the process has been the most valuable thing besides simply getting a product to a place to make sales. It's like we are learning and developing a skill in the process by doing the next right thing on a consistent basis.
I love that. I mean, this skill set of being able to find a product, manufacture the product, launch the product, manage PPC, I mean, just the entire process, like, is so invaluable, and to be honest, once you have that skill set, I mean, you can do whatever you want. Like, the options are endless. And that's
Mhm.
kind of with what I've seen with my life is like it's taken me in so many different directions and has provided so many different opportunities just because I know how to do the FBA process. And so that right next thing is important because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, this is the next thing, but I want to take a shortcut and I'm going to go and do this instead. And it's like, no, 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 don't do shortcuts. Just do that right next thing. And I promise if you just follow the process, follow the next step, you'll get the end result that you want. So that is a huge part. The last question that I have for you guys is what's one piece of advice or lesson that you guys learned that has stood out to you through being a part of the AMZ champion family? If there's anything that kind of jumps out to your guys' mind.
I feel like it's more just a principle. Because we've done some different training things, but what I've appreciated about being a part of Amazon Champions is I felt like everything has been really actionable. It hasn't been really fluff, and it's a group of people that are really determined to yeah, to succeed, but really in a more importantly, like you said, to contribute. So I think not having this kind of mindset of like, no, this is something that I can figure out, and I feel like being a part of your program has helped me work through some of the sticking points. And I remember being at sticking point after sticking point and looking up things on YouTube before I was even a part of the program, and just feeling like you had walked through in plain terms some of the things that I was up against, because it just was roadblock after roadblock is what it felt like. And like, here's this problem. I don't even know what this is, but feeling like you had ways of making me feel like you were in it with me and that we could kind of overcome it together, and not just like at a high level, but like, hey, let's actually look at the thing and let's make these changes. And okay, now that's done. And now we can move on to the next thing. So I feel like coaching has kind of been an invaluable part of this process because we don't know what we're doing. We recognize we have blind spots. So just to feel like we have someone in it with us in our corner, and when we do come against those roadblocks, and feel like we're not alone trying to figure it out.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I appreciate that. You guys are amazing. And is there any last maybe tips or pieces of advice that you could give to somebody that's just starting or any last thoughts? It could be your favorite food. It could be, hey, I want to go on this vacation. I don't care. Any last additional words of wisdom that you guys have for the audience? Again, I appreciate you guys jumping on it. It really means a lot.
I think don't be afraid to invest more because it's risky and it's scary, but I think the more you invest, the more reward comes from it. So you might take a dip, but then the climb will be higher. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no. I mean, so many people think that again, it's gonna come easy, it's gonna come without any risk, it's gonna come without putting any money, and all of a sudden you're gonna take $0 and have a business that's selling 500 to $1,000. Like, that's just not how it goes. Like, the math as a finance guy, Ben, you know that the math doesn't shake out. Like, in order to sell $500 worth of inventory, you have to purchase the inventory. Like, do the math and I mean, to me, it's clear. But a lot of people don't find that concept of like, hey, you have to be willing to invest in yourself and in your business to be able to grow it. So that yeah, that's a great point. So you guys are awesome. I love that you guys are doing this as a couple. And to be honest, I'm a little jealous because my wife, I wish she would maybe do it a little bit more with me. Um, but it is what it is, and she's amazing, and she's a great mom as well, which I'm sure you are as well. But I'm gonna let you guys get back to taking care of your kids. I appreciate you taking this afternoon and chatting with me. And yeah, look forward to your guys' continued success.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trevor.